Hey, everybody, welcome to the book club. We are doing the book. I'm pulling it up now. What if a transformational guide? Okay. I was also low key trying to fix my bangs. I can't figure out. It's this side. Look at that little poof there. I feel like I'm back in middle school. With this look today. I do. I feel like I'm back in middle school. I feel like I need a comb right here to fix this. This is when I wish I was on radio and not video. Okay. I did cut them yesterday, so that's part of it. They're kind of not cooperating, right? I know. Noelle, I am. I'm always trying to fix my bangs because they're good when I first get them cut, and then after that and I take over, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Hey Fawn, welcome to the show. Hey Rebecca, Betty Boop, Heather, Noelle. Hey Noelle, how's everything going? Everybody, how's everything going? Let's do a quick check-in for everybody. How's everything going? Heather has surgery tomorrow. Heather, we're going to be saying prayers for you. Everything is going to go good. It's going to go really good, as a matter of fact. So don't stress, okay? Fawn says everything's good. So just, I know everybody here that's here right now is here for the book club. And we are on, I don't know what week, 3 or 4 of the book club. And the question today, hey Karen, how are you? Happy birthday, Karen. Happy birthday. Today is Karen's birthday. So happy birthday, sweetie. Okay, we're going to get started right away because I think almost everybody's here. We're missing Sal, but that's okay. He's probably doing something else, and that's all right. If you want to call in and be part of the conversation via phone on Podbean, go ahead, go over to Podbean and call in. I'll be watching that and getting everybody online if we can, just like we did last week. And then also, what else is there? Yeah, that's it. And again, if you don't have the book, it is available, but you don't need the book to do this. So that's the good thing. Here comes Fawn. Hey, Fawn. How are you? She'll be on in a second. She'll be on in a second. Um, there she is. Hey, Fawn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's so good. Thank you. It's so good. So good. So, you guys, are you ready for today's question? Today's question: what if you can change your life? And then part two of that question is: what if that is part of the purpose of this life? So we can look at that question in so many different ways. It can be first changing it spiritually, physically, career wise, educationally, all the different levels of financially, every different level there is to change the life. But what if that's the purpose for the life, your life? What if you can change it? What if you can change it as many times as you want? What if that is part of it? What if that's part of why we're here? What if that's the whole reason we're here? Which, in a way, I kind of believe we are here to create and co create and to have that sort of thing going on. I just figured out what's up. I forgot to turn off to close the blinds. So I'm going to do that, especially for the one behind me, because for safety purposes, because people can figure out where you live if they see the stuff in the back. So, Fawn, if you want to talk for a minute about that, that would be great. And you guys, I'm just going to stand up and close this really quick.
Yes, I'll elaborate on it from my point of view. I do believe you can change your life. I do believe that we have many, many choices to make along the way, and there's so many different paths to take that we have to just try to lead with our intuition and try to connect in to see which way to go. I also believe we can sometimes go off our path and then we can come back over to our path. So I do believe that we're creating our own story, our own path, and we're choosing every day mindfully what we want, and that is what is coming forward. But the problem comes in for me, especially, is those mental things and those blocks, like you talk about sometimes. Some of those blocks that I may have from like past lives or things that have happened to me. It's really hard to change your mindset more than anything else. My struggle is in changing the mindset about certain things that may have been linked to me and realizing that I am worthy, I am enough, and I deserve everything. And going back, of course, to love, because it always goes back to that for me. To love is to just be love. And that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And what if you don't go off your path or your journey? What if that is part of the journey?
Well, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that is
Yeah.
great. You're right.
So what if, like, I have this thing, like people always say, and I do this too, and you guys, I'm sure you know, and if you can call in and you want to call in, hop over to Podbean. Let's get you on. Um, so we can all talk about this, or you can put your feelings about this question or how you think about it in the chat. But I always think, I always say, oh, that was such a mistake. I can't believe I did this or I did that. But even what if some of our things that we've done where we felt like we've been off our path were just, I'm going to use the word education, teaching us about what we don't want, hey, Heather's coming on. What we don't want, where we don't want to be. Because sometimes, in order to know what we do want, we have to experience what we don't want, or we can have something that is part of what we want, but fully not what we want. And sometimes, in order to understand this world and people better, we need to go down a road that we never thought we would have gone down. Does that make sense, everybody?
Everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. And I've actually been through that, what you're saying. Exactly. Been through that. Been going somewhere else, thinking that I didn't want to be somewhere and relocating to somewhere else. And then finding out ultimately, gosh, I really don't like it here at all, at all. But yet I was brought here for all those lessons, right? Those lessons in the last 10 years, I've been giving lesson after lesson where I'm at. But I currently believe the timeline's changing and I'm out because I've chose that. I just recently chose that.
Nice.
So I do believe I had to learn a lot of stuff though.
Yeah. Sure. Heather, what's your take on it? If you can talk. I know a lot of people join and they're at work and they're listening while they're working. So if you can talk, please go ahead and talk. If you can call in, go ahead and call in. Heather, where are you with If You Can Change Your Life? Hey, Rebecca, welcome to the call line. I love Podbean for this reason. I can have 9 people total on the line talking at the same time. So if you guys want to call in, we can definitely have all of us talking there. So yeah. Okay. So sorry. So Heather, where are you with it, Heather?
I agree with Fawn. Like, for instance, like when I got married at 18, and when we went through our divorce, I thought it was the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a young son, and he was the love of my life, of course. And you don't want to go through a divorce; you just feel like you're a failure. But now, looking back, like now I have a daughter, and I'm doing a lot better without him. Like, my self-esteem and everything's way better without being with him. And I'm more me. Like, I feel like I'm more complete without him in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so important. Like, just knowing that. And here's my thing on relationships that are not very healthy for us, especially if we have children. There's always that question: should I stay for the child and put up with what I'm putting up with, but give the full family function? Or should I go? And we feel like we're selfish or we failed for going. However, we don't want a child, because children never do what we tell them to do. They repeat the patterns they've learned from what we've lived. So if we stay in a situation that might not be the healthiest, that might be something they repeat later on.
That's what me and Lily were talking about yesterday. She was talking about some of the boys that she likes, and every single boy that her and her friend like are like the players of the school.
Oh my gosh, like, that young.
And I'm like, you're so my child. You're gonna have a bad picker like your mom did.
No. So here's the thing. Isn't it crazy that young? There are players that young. Like,
yeah.
I don't remember being in high school and having players, but I'm going to admit it, you guys. I'm not even embarrassed to admit this. I was still playing with Barbie dolls and stuffed animals when I was 18. So I was that girl. Like, you would walk in my room and there would be Barbie dolls and people would be like, that's cute. I'm like, oh yeah, do I pick them up and play? I was very, very naive, or just not very progressed in the way my peers were when I was in high school. I was still very da di da. So I'm not the one to talk about if there were, but you guys, I know this is really off the topic of the book. I didn't know it then. I had no clue then. But looking back, I realized there was a pimp in my high school. It was a student too. He walked with a cane and a limp. How he was still in high school. This guy had to be like 20 years old, but he was definitely like, I didn't know that then, but I know it now. I know it now. Looking back, I'm like, that was a whole pimp in our high school. Like a legit, like, girls on the corner pimp. It's crazy. Anyway. So let's get back to the Rebecca. Rebecca's on the line. Rebecca, how do you feel? Like, what if this life, what if you can change your life, and what if that is part of the purpose of this life? What is that? First, let's talk about that, Rebecca, and then I'm going to add another component to this. So go ahead, Rebecca.
Okay, and the question is, what if you can change your life, like the path?
Yeah, what if you can just change your life, any part of it, your finances, your career, your any part of it, physically?
At this age now, I'm almost 50, but I think about it. If I could change the way I see life now, wow, I would be so financially successful.
Yeah.
Stable. I would have property everywhere, but I didn't see life that way when I was younger. I also got married at a young age when I was 16. And it's funny that you said there was a 20-year-old in high school. When I got married, my husband at that time, I was 16, he was 20. I did not know that. He lied about his age. But at the same time, I tell myself, why did this happen to me? And God just placed that in my path to survive how I was feeling at home. Because I wanted to run away. I wanted to do this. I was, lots of trouble stuff. And then jobs-wise too, changing jobs, how I learned from every job that I have. I don't leave right away after a year. I'll take 3 years, 4 years in that job, but I learned from it. And then another thing is, once I got divorced, I had so much anger towards my mom that I noticed that there's, not saying all women, but a lot of women can't be on their own for once they go through a divorce or they're separated. They want that partner right away, like they can't live on their own. They don't feel strong. But I had so much anger towards my mom that I was like, I'm not gonna follow her pattern. I'm gonna learn how to be on my own and be successful. And that's what I did. Even though I did have boyfriends, had another kid, but I was like, I'm not afraid to be on by myself if I have to.
Yeah.
And I'm saying too much, but yeah.
That's so amazing. That's so amazing. So we're gonna go to Noelle, who and Shelly's also in the chat on YouTube. Shelly, thank you for joining us. And again, any comments, if you're on the chat and you cannot call in, put your comments in. I will try to read them out. Noelle says, I've learned a lot about having codependency and that being the youngest sibling, I think I was a bit spoiled. So knowing that, let's see. Yeah, I think the youngest sibling always, they say the first, the middle, the last, or the oldest, the youngest, and the middle children, they each have their role. But by the time you get to the youngest, you're like, yeah, they're fine. They're okay. Go ahead. But that codependency, I think most people in the world have codependency. Most people in the world have some sort of needing or wanting other people there, especially once they become involved with someone else. And in our society, I think, and I don't know, you guys can speak up, it's thought of as not normal to be by yourself. I mean, especially back, you grew up, you got married, you had children, they grew up, they got married, they had children. This is, I think, one of the first times in our span where it's actually like normal to be single and on your own and not worry about if there are other, like having a partner or whatever it is. I think some people will still like kind of be like, well, don't you want someone or something like that, but I don't think it's as important in society now, according to like when other people look at you. But that codependency is a huge, huge thing for everybody. But why I'm going to do a little clearing on being codependent. Oh, I can instantly feel it, like my stomach starts shaking and I feel it like, shoom. So let's heal, clear, release all codependency, all that caused it, all that kept it. If you guys feel this, let me know. Hey, Drops of Jupiter, thanks for joining the book club. And I'm going to read some of Betty Boop's comments in here. Let's see. Fawn says, I did that until my kids even wanted us apart. It was toxic. She's talking about the relationship, staying until it's too late. Betty Boop says, IMO, it's because we're brainwashed to find the one. We are, as if we're not enough, we are the one. That is so true. And Betty Boop also says, I remember my mom couldn't get a credit card on her own. That is, especially back in the day when women were like so, like you got married and then the man took care of everything, and then sometimes the man messed up all the finances and everything. So true, so true. And Betty Boop says, my dad used to ask me when I was going to get married, and I said, in May. May that day never come. Oh, Betty Boop. Oh, it's so funny how the differences in those thoughts. And I know Catherine is um, married and happy and has children, and I think if you have that sort of situation, there's just different circumstances in the type of men that we've met and had, and we all think if I met someone and it could be like this, we would I would do it. I would be in that relationship. Catherine says, I don't think it's easy to change our lives, but I see people, including myself, manifest things for years and then the change seemed to come. Yeah, Catherine, that is so good. We do so we will. I think when change happens quickly or automatically, we it may shock our senses or shock us, but when it comes in gradually and over time, we have we acclimate to it. So for example, um, when you start working someplace to where you end up at that place can be two completely different things that as you're working at this place, you may be accumulating, you may be working towards it. And one thing I'm going to say about Rebecca, what Rebecca said, owning properties. If you buy one property and you live in it, or you buy a property and you rent it out, and then you slowly keep adding, you're acclimating, you're getting used to having those properties, you're building that portfolio. But if you just end up with like an apartment complex with, let's say, 20 apartments, that's a really big complex, but I'm just exaggerating. That might be a shock and overwhelming to handle. So I do agree with Catherine. So changes that come over time and that you build it in slowly, that is, I think, sometimes a better way. Now I'm going to ask you this, you guys, and I want everybody to say at least one thing, including you, Shelley. Say it through Catherine if you're comfortable with it. If you could change something about your life, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, psychologically, work, money, whatever it is, what would that one thing be? What would that one thing be that you would change if you could? What would it be? And while everybody's putting that in, I'm going to say this. I believe that our soul is continually evolving as long as we're participating in the world, as long as we're getting out, we're doing things, or we're taking in some sort of new information. 100%. I'm going to tell you, I know some of you listen to Reddit or read the Reddit stories. I know you do. I might be a little bit addicted to them. Not a joke, but these stories have been so, like, in what they're saying. Um, I I seriously, I can, some of them that I listen to, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. The one thing in a lot of these stories is like people will say, and they're successful and they have this and they have that, and then they were able to do this, that, and the other thing. Sal says I would be 5'9" instead of 5'3". Sal, did you have control over that? Sal, you're so funny. So happy you're here. Okay, so here's seriously, when I listen to some of the Reddit stories, though, I do think there's a part of me that thinks I wish I would have been more prepared, or like Rebecca said, with properties. Like, I wish I had that thing that I could own and manage properties. But people kind of, I'm so like, yeah, okay, whatever. People kind of walk all over me. Like, I did have a duplex and I was very agreeable, and people kind of walked all over me in the duplex. I'm not a good landlord that way. I think landlords have to be a little bit strict and whatever. But there is that end of it, like, oh, that would be so smart for your financial future. But if there is one thing you guys could change other than your height, Sal, what would it be? And Betty Boop says Tony Book Club is great resource. Thanks. She is really best advice. Oh, thank you so much, Betty Boop. I would change dwelling on the past, acting like I could do anything about it. What a waste of time. Oh my goodness. So true. Heather says, stop investing my time and energy in stuff, people, jobs, outcomes that I cannot control. Oh my goodness. Let's clear both of those. We're going to start clearing, dwelling on the past and investing in junk stock. People, stock is whatever it is. Let's heal, clear, release, all of that for everybody. Um, and Fawn, Rebecca, Heather, if you guys want to talk, go right ahead and start talking. You can join the conversation. If you do want to call in, go ahead over to Podbean and you can also call in. So, anybody on the phone want to chat about this?
I would just remove the word like negative thinking, negative thoughts. No,
Okay.
What about this? What about that? Kind of like fear. I didn't have that in my mindset. I might be totally different because I'm meeting a lot of people that don't have negative thinking at all. When you're talking to them, like, wow, you just keep going and going. It's beautiful.
And that is amazing. Let's do a clearing for negativity, just negativity in general, pulling and clearing that from us, and then and then also, I think when they still believe anything is possible, that they can move forward into that without the negativity. When people believe they're in control of their future or their domain, right? They don't have that negativity. It's when we believe we're blocked or hindered in some way that maybe some of that comes in, or maybe just when we've had enough negative experiences. I'm not sure. I think for everybody it might be different. Hi, Sue UK. How are you today? We're doing book club today, Sue. And the question today from the book club is, what if you can change your life? What if that is part of the purpose of this life? So what would everybody else change? Sal says, stop holding back from doing something that is out of my comfort zone. Oh, regrets. So true. So true. That holding back, not when we get that idea, when we have that thing we want to do and then we just kind of let it go. I cannot tell you guys, there's oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. And then the justifications or excuses that we have with that, right? It's really, really, really out there, like how powerful that is, that limiting beliefs, limiting thoughts, all of that is so powerful in our mind. Not in reality, but in our mind, it is. So, if you could design yourself to be the person you want to be, what would that look like for you? That's the first part of that question. And the second part of that question is this: what would you have to change about yourself to get to that person you want to be? And is it, like Sal says, holding back? Is it self-sabotage? Is it just fear? Is it money? What is it for you that would that is stopping you from being the person you want to be? And there's another part to this. I want you to really think about that, write that out. Or if you're on the phone, say it. If you want to put it in the chat, put it in the chat. But I really want you to think about this. If I could be anybody in my career or a different career or with properties or with whatever, um, what would that person look like? Okay. And what would they be doing? And then, okay, what's stopping me from that? And then write that out in the chat, get on the phone and say it in the in the you can write it in the chat on a piece of paper privately for yourself, or on the phone you can say it. Now here's the third component to that. If your child came up to you and said, "This is the person I want to be," or your sister, your mother, the person you love came up to you and said, "This is the person I want to be. This is my goal. This is what I want to do." What would you say to them? How would you help them achieve that? So let's say it is career, procrastinating. Rebecca says procrastinating. I've been lazy, but finally I'm currently working on it. I love that, Rebecca. I so love it. So if you can, if you one thing I say all the time, if you can't do it for yourself, and most of us can't for some reason, it's so difficult for us to do things for ourselves. But if it were for somebody else, we would be right on top of it. We would be doing everything we can to do it. So pretend you're doing it for someone else. In the blink of an eye, this life is gone. It doesn't feel like that while we're going through it, but it's true. In the blink of an eye, this life will be done over, no more. But it doesn't feel that way right now at all. So while we're going through it, we have to find the way to do as much as possible. One thing I always say to people, if you don't know how to do it, if you don't have the resource for it, somebody else does. So if you want property, let's say you want property, you want to be a property owner for rental properties or for whatever, work with grants. Go and look up how to get property with grants. Maybe then you get property that is for veterans or a woman's shelter. And the grants will cover it 100%. And that's where you start. Let's say it's for career and you want to change your career. I know people who, once they retire, they start doing what they really want, that thing they've always wanted to do. They did their career until they were 65 years old. Once they turned 65, they started a whole nother career in baking, in craft, whatever it is. Okay. And you can say, well, they didn't have to worry about money. They had their pension. They had this. They had their passion. They had their passion. And you can have your passion also. You can have your passion and do it part-time on the side. And I want you to say, people will say, I don't have time. I don't have time. If it were for someone you loved, you would find the time. So if your son, your daughter, your whoever called and said, Mom, I need you to do this for me. I want to start this business. You would make all the time in the world for it, right?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead, love.
Yes, I would do anything for my children to be successful in their life, to be way higher than I am, because it's going to help them, my grandchildren, and it keeps moving forward, and that makes me happy. That's the most beautiful feeling. I'm there for them. Whatever they need, I tell them, just let me know. I'm there for you.
Absolutely. And isn't that crazy that we can be that for other people, but we can't be that for ourselves? Who else is like that? They'll do anything for their children. They want to see their children move much further than they are. But then when it comes to us, we're like, we're here. But one of the ways that people set their children up to keep moving forward is at any and every age they keep doing it, because their kids will always look back and go, I remember my mom when she was, 45, she completely started this business, and she was working, and I'm going to tell you, the one of the things I remember about my mom, and personally, honestly, my mom always had like side gigs going on. She had her 9 to 5, and then she she baked for a bakery. She made wedding cakes and birthday cakes on the side in the kitchen. She was in there with towers of cakes and stairs and all of this stuff. She At one point she was making is some of you are going to remember these barrettes with ribbons and feathers and beads on the bottom. She was doing those. um, at another point, she always had something she was doing on the side to bring in cash money. When she was not working, she just started waitressing. She bartended, she waitressed. She was always bringing in cash. My mom just never ever wanted to be that person who sat at home and didn't have extra cash coming in. And that from that I've learned, like, always think of that thing you can do. Now I don't have, the baking skills my mom had. She had some pretty incredible baking skills. She created some pretty incredible desserts that weren't even out there yet. um, now they're out there, other people do them now, but at the time my mom was doing them, nobody else had created these desserts yet. She was one of the very first people to create a cannoli cake. Um, and even the way other people make it now, it's very different than what my mom did. So it absolutely, I would give up my sugar, my no sugar, because I haven't had sugar, gosh, at least since the new year, I think. But I would break that for that cake. I would break it for that cake. Anyway, so really, if you could do it for somebody else, and that could be the way you get it done, would that work for you? Would you start doing it then? Catherine says, I might make myself dream bigger. I love that, Catherine. We get so beaten down with life. Yes, I'm trying to get back to my younger, more carefree, joyous, optimist self. Catherine, you said everything in that. You just said everything in that. That is so true. After we go through a few things, we tend to be a little bit more cautious, and we have to come at it like 18-year-olds, I think, sometimes. Like, do you remember when we were 18, we knew everything and we could do everything? Sometimes I feel like we just have to get back in that mind frame. We really do. So, who's on the phone? Who wants to say something? Oh, I thought I heard somebody on the phone for a second. Okay.
I can say, like, my mom did a lot for everyone. My mom helped every single person, even her sisters, everybody. She was there to help everybody. And And that's the reason where I'm at now. She pushed me to move out of state on my own without just one person living out here, but I don't have no family here. And she's the one that encouraged me and pushed me to it. And then once I moved here, she got sick. But what I learned from my mom giving everybody everything to help, she's gone. And she was sick, and nobody was there for her while she was sick. Everything she made, and she was a hustler. She sold everything that you can think of. Avon, Mary Kay, gold.
Yes.
And all of that is gone. Like, it's been stolen or something. And it's like, my mom didn't enjoy her life. I mean, that's something that she loved doing, I'm sure, but that's it. And now I learned that I can't do everything for everybody. I'm there for my kids if they need my help for something, but I'm also going to start. I said it to myself, I need to push myself to be something else now. I got to move on. My kids are older. I got to do it now for my grandkids because I have a feeling they're going to be moving in here when they're adults, and I got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, so true. So true. So that is a thing. How many of us had parents that were hustlers? Like, seriously, they were, whether it was their regular job or their side job or whatever they did. Because I feel like my mom was a total hustler, also, Rebecca. Sal says, when I was 18, I had no fear of failure. So true, right? We just had the world by the booty. And when we look at 18-year-olds now, we see that. We see how they feel the same, right? They have that energy. They're out there doing it. So we just have to get, like, in some way, get back to that. Or again, if we have that personal fear for us, think of one thing you want to do. One career thing. If you want to switch career, think about what you would want to switch it to. Think about um, money, career, whatever it is. Think about it for a moment, and then again, if you were doing it for your kiddo or for your partner, what would be the first step you would take? And just take that step like you're taking it for them. So if it's something with, let's just use career, for example. So many of you that are here right now in this book club are so creative. You're writers, you're singers, you have your entrepreneurial stuff going on. You could write, you could do all of these things, right? There's so many things that could be um, a possibility for you, healers, whatever it is. If you could do one step to take it one step further, what would that step be? And sometimes we get to the point where we're like, I don't know what that next step would be. Okay, again, pretend it's for somebody else, because sometimes when it's for us, our limiting beliefs will get in the way. But if it's for somebody else, all the information will come through. I can't tell you the number of times I'm talking to a client, and I'm obviously in that psychic, intuitive realm, and all these ideas come in, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? What was going on with me that I didn't think of that? But it's coming through intuitively for the client, and it's so beautiful. So what would be the thing, the step, the action step, the one thing you would do to change your life to get to that next thing that you want? And if somebody wants to give me a specific career thing, I'll see what I can get on that too. Yes, I do feel stuck. I want to do it all. Then I tell myself, what's next? So, Rebecca, that's so true. I think that everyone is in that little space where we do get stuck. We're and sometimes just being really clear about the outcome. The universe will bring the next step to us, but we have to take that step. We really have to take that step when it comes. Um, and
I'm ready
that's,
to say something if you want. I can talk. I just think
yeah,
that the best thing you could do is the research, like doing all the research for if it was career. You got to do the research on the different companies and the market and the pay and the locations. It's a lot of research to really figure it out if you are looking for a career or a change, especially in these changing times with everything changing. You have to really think, is this job going to go away with AI and things like that? So I think that you just have to really do a lot of research when you first get started. And that goes for moving or career, either one.
yeah, I agree 100%, but I want to take the fear element out of it. Like, yes, maybe AI is here and it is going to change a lot, but not every company is going to bring AI in. Not every company is, as especially not at first, is going to replace people with AI. Okay. Some companies want actual bigger companies, maybe, for example, I'm not saying this is a fact. Bigger companies, let's just say maybe like Amazon, they may end up replacing a lot of people with something like AI. Okay. However, there will be a lot of companies that will not replace people with AI. I think smaller companies, and I always say, and I know you guys are probably sick of hearing this, even if you have your career right now, what can you do on the side? Because there is a very strong, I I know for a fact you will never make more than your boss unless you're in sales and it's especially high end sales or high volume sales. You will never make more than your manager, your boss, or the owner of the company. And your goal is not to be capped in your income. And part of the reason they cap the income is to keep you there. Because if you start making a lot of money, you will have that freedom to feel like you can do other things also. So, in saying that, one of the things I always, and I also believe we are creators. We were created by the greatest creator to be creators. Now, it's good to have the 9 to 5 with the benefits and the stability and the security. I 100% believe that. The other part of life is using your creative abilities to do anything. If you can make tamales, sell them. Go there. I heard this story. This is the craziest. Like, I watched these videos, you guys. I swear I love them so much. It's like every day they do a new business idea that anybody can do. And this guy, no matter what, and I don't find this cringy at all. Some people might go, "Oh my gosh, that's so cringe." Um, there's a guy that every Saturday and Sunday he gets up super duper early. He is at the hardware store like Home Depot or whatever hardware store you have in your area. Just imagine that. But in this case, it's Home Depot. He's at a Home Depot early in the morning. He pops open the back of his hatchback and he has a warmer in there and he has donuts in there and a canister of coffee, like one of those big industrial canisters of coffee, and he's selling donuts and coffee to the people coming in and out of Home Depot. Come on.
I love that.
Right? Come on. It doesn't, he's probably not even making the donuts. He's probably buying them at Costco in bulk, putting them in a warmer and with a big thing of big huge thermos of just plain black coffee. with some maybe sugars and creams again, Costco, and he's selling them at Home Depot to people who are on an early morning run for home repair stuff for the weekend. Come on. That's a part that's a minimum effort. You don't have to be making the donuts. You don't have to you know what I mean? Like we are meant to create. We are meant to have that thing that will turn into the next thing that turns into the next thing. I've been watching these videos also about Sicily. Like you know how you get on the stream? Well, in Sicily, and I was thinking if somebody drove through my neighborhood with this, I mean, Sicily's safer or whatever, but there's a one truck that comes through with all the breads, and they just drive through the neighborhoods and they yell in their language, oh, the bread, blah blah blah, and people come out and they get their daily bread. And then the next truck is the fruit truck, and there's all these fruits on the back of it, and the watermelons are already cut up, and there's all this fruit, and they just drive through the neighborhood and people come out and they get their fruit. Come on. Come on. There is so many great things we could do. Heather says, yeah, I'm 41 and can't handle the way they teach now. My attention span isn't the greatest. LOL. I'm like, oh, shiny things. Yeah, we all are. That's I think we're supposed to be like that. That's where I don't believe that we are supposed to be able to get up and go and sit someplace for 8 to 10 hours, go home, make food, sit for another 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is, and then go to bed and lay for 6 to 8 hours. I believe if our body, and then when we're at work for those 8 hours, we're just on autopilot. I believe our body and our mind is supposed to be thinking of unlimited possibilities and doing. So even if you get home and you are, let's say, binging Netflix, I believe you should be, and excuse this, if like, for example, knitting sweaters or scarves or doing something that helps you create, anything that helps you create, um, keeps your, at least one part of you busy. I do believe that. Sal says, Toni, have you ever thought of becoming a minister for weddings or pet funerals? Especially especially you. You can channel the pet for the owner. Oh, thank you, Sal. I actually do have a minister thing. I did get my minister thing because I thought I wouldn't have to pay taxes. That is not true, by the way. Ministers still have to pay taxes. It's just the money, like donations towards the ministry and property for the ministry. And then I thought, well, I'm now ordained to do weddings. I could do weddings. So yeah, good ideas. Noelle says, good idea, Sal. I miss my doggy, Baxter, and I'd love Toni to minister my wedding. I would love that. I can. I'm a minister. I am a minister. That's a great idea. I haven't even thought about my ministry things in such a long time. I haven't thought about it at all, but I am. I'm a minister. So there's that. Um, yeah, there's that. So you guys, I want to, the part of the book club and part of this book is changing your life, transforming from where you are to the destiny you believe you have, to the destiny you want. I want you to think of one thing you can do that would change your life in the direction you want to be in. So for example, if it's career, I think Heather said, I'm 41. Do you know what? I started doing this work when I was 40. I think I was 40. It was in '06. And I'm going to tell you, I never would have intentionally sought this out. I loved everything I was doing. I loved the space I was in. I loved, God, I loved the money I was making. But because of circumstances, I had to change it, and the near death. And so at that point in '06, I ended up changing my whole entire life and career into something I love even more now. I love this so much more than what I was doing. And I didn't even think that was a possibility. I really didn't. So you guys, please come up with, like, just throughout the week, think of one action thing, one step you can take. And again, if you can't do it for yourself, like Sal, yesterday you asked about how someone who runs events that you could be brought into as a healer. Like, I was thinking about that last night, that if there's not somebody that's doing that, just putting on healing events, and maybe there probably is, here and in other countries, maybe they have a retreat space that they allow, that they just run different retreats. Find it, look it up, act like you're doing it for somebody else, and then just look it up and see if that's out there. I know there are a lot of event marketing companies. They'll help you market your event, but I don't know anybody who just hires people into the event unless they really know you. Like, there are a couple people that will sponsor somebody to come in, but they don't do that as a career. But look it up, start putting it into the universe, and before you know it, that will be what's popping up in front of you. Okay. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for this, to be able to share this with you. Uh, Heather says, yeah, I just feel like my life is at a standstill right now because of my C stuff. And before it was Colin's heart stuff, I'm okay with, I'm I'm like, okay, when we go through this, I can do the next thing. Heather, have you ever thought about? I see these certificates all the time, like you can become a certified this, that, and the, and one of them is um, becoming a naturopathic doctor. I see that all the time. And now you can become a naturopathic doctor online, and you can do that while keeping your career and while keeping what you're doing. And you can even start your naturopathic thing while you are still working and do that part time. Um, and I'm just going to say this, I believe the whole medical industry is about to get flipped upside down over the next 8 to 10 years. Everything that is medical, there are going to be so many things that are about to come out on the medical side, that and what the medical side has been doing. I know I've said in the past, if you're a donor, take that off. You can let your family know, but don't tell them, because and I've known this. There are so many things I've known for so long, and when I say it, people say I'm crazy because they can't believe people would do this to people. They can't believe, like, when they think about it, they're like, there's no way a doctor would do that, there's no way a hospital would do that, they're there to save us. But for the longest time, I've known, just do not become a donor, do not put that sticker on your license, do not tell your parents to allow you to be a donor, because they, guess what now, guess what, all the information is coming out of all the people who were donors that were not gone, that were not passed away, and they harvested them. They wanted to harvest them. It's all coming out now. There was a lady, a woman who is a doctor, and they asked her, okay, this person were bring a body, whatever. They brought the body, and they said, okay, what are she was in school at the time. She had no clue. She was brand new, still in school. And they said, okay, what would we administer to this person before we start harvesting their organs? One of them was a pain blocker. If you are passed away so your organs can be harvested, why do you need a pain blocker? Another one was something to block their consciousness. Think about that. And why? And why? Another doctor, a couple of doctors have actually come out and said there's no such thing as brain dead. How about that? So things are really starting to come out on that whole end of things. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm only saying this for this reason. There are so many things over the next 4 and 5 years, from now through the 5th year, that we are going to find out about hospitals, medical standards, medical industries, what they do, what they've been doing, how they do it. And we all, to a certain degree, know this. It's going to change the whole way medicine is done. There's going to be a lot of doctors and nurses opening up their own clinics, some private, some monthly, like you pay month subscription type clinics, but some just regular clinics, walk-in clinics that are privately owned by doctors and nurses that are cash pay. And even more so, there is going to be a lot of people searching for natural answers because of what's been happening. I'm saying this in the best way possible, that people are going to be gravitating towards like when I got into hypnosis, my instructor said, people come to you as a last ditch effort. They've done everything else to try, and now they're standing in front of you hoping you can help them. It's not their first or second choice. It'll be their last choice because everything else has failed. That's where we are going with natural medicine. Natural medicine is, and then eventually it will come to fruition that they will start. It won't be the last choice. It'll be a more known and reputable choice because it actually will work for people, even in the things that doctors are saying they will not be able to help with. So just a thought, just a thought, just a thought. Anyway, but there's going to be a lot of changes in a ton of things. And Fawn, you mentioned about AI replacing. AI is not going to replace natural herbs and remedies and healers and energy healers and consciousness and what we can do with that. There's no way. It's not going to replace those things. It's not going to replace that type of thing. So if you want to do something like that, if you have a feeling or a calling for that, you would be amazed at how far that can take you. Okay, you guys, I hope this was so helpful.
I just want to say I agree with everything you just said. It's completely true. And I've actually had visions of healing centers in the future and things like that in dreams. So I do believe this is coming. I do. It's a knowing, though. I just know it. Thank you, Toni. I'm going to drop off. Have a great day.
You too, love. And I'm going to say I'll be here tomorrow night at 7 to answer your questions and do connect you with loved ones. I do want to say healing centers are going to be a huge, huge, huge thing. I mean, we have acupuncture, we have all of there are so many things now, but I want to say we are on the verge, and I think in about within 2 to 4 years, hopefully, depending on how things go, I feel like there are going to be a lot more natural healers out there. It's going to be so much more common than it is now. People aren't going to be as afraid to talk about it. It's not going to be the woo woo any longer. So keep working on it, get out there, get doing it. I think you're going to have it's going to be very well, like it's going to be more common. And I will say this, the more healers and healing energy out there, the stronger it will be for everybody. All right, you guys. It's like that in China. They do natural healing first. Yes, I had a Russian acupuncturist tell me there is no such thing as depression in Russia. They don't have that diagnoses. And they don't diagnose people and just give them pills. They give them, go and do this, go and try that, like go and take a walk for this far in the sunlight, or go and get acupuncture, or go and do this and that. It's very, very different in other countries. It really is. So yes, 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 yes. There's doctor going to other countries for naturopathic providers to not pay taxes too. Yes. And here's a really good example. Thank you, Rebecca. Stem cells are in our body at a certain point. We're just not producing as many. If we're sedentary, we're not producing as many new stem cells. So everybody's going over to Mexico to get stem cells. And they wouldn't let it here for the longest time. They just finally started letting it here. I'm going to tell you, they don't want us to know in other countries, they're curing things naturally that our doctors say there's no cure for. They're curing things in other countries very easily and quickly without damaging the body that our physicians are not, and not even aware of what they're doing in other countries, right? So that's something to think about. So if you can, and frequency healing, yes, Heather, frequency healing is so, so powerful. And oh my God, you guys, this is turning into a whole different thing about than the book. But if you go to Walmart, they are about to change all of their lighting in all of their stores, and a couple other big retailers are going to do this also. And they're going, I can't remember the name of it, and I wouldn't even say it if I did because I don't want to trigger anything. But they're changing to these lights that it's like the uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. G. I don't know why I think that's better. The G, the same thing that is supposedly in our phones, but is in every single light out there, which puts you in a state of fight or flight, which makes you impulsively buy and get out quicker, and also makes your system If you buy something impulsively that you don't want, you won't want to go back there and return it. They're about to change all their lights to that in all of their stores. Look it up. Look it up. And a couple of other big box places will follow suit because it will cause you to impulsively purchase, quickly purchase, and feel like, the whole time you're in there. As far as I know, they have not done it yet, but they are about to. And there is a, how do I say this? There is a patent that certain lighting, the blue lights, let's call them the blue lights, which is what our computers emit, what's on the streets now. There's a patent that there's a frequency with that. And they can change the frequency that it emits, which can make you just all of a sudden not know what you're doing, because we know how frequency works. If you know frequency, you know what it does and how it works. It can cause healing. It can cause your frequency can go up. It can go down. It can get frantic. And the people in charge of that frequency, we just have to be very mindful of what we're doing, where we're going, and what we're feeling while we're there. Okay? So be very, 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 very mindful of that. Okay, you guys, just be aware. The concerts and the people, don't even get me started. Okay, so the big screens at concerts and the subliminal messaging behind the actual photo and the subliminal messaging in the jumbotrons at sporting events and concerts, the subliminal messaging behind it with the micro pictures behind it and the frequency and the messaging they're sending out. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started with that. That's a whole nother end of it. Thank you. Thank you, Heather, for bringing that up. Yeah, it's complete. So here's what I'm going to say back. Like Men in Black movie, look into the red light. Yes. You guys, I actually did get, I want to show them to you, but I don't know where they are. They're here someplace. I actually did get these glasses that they block the blue light from the computers and the phones. Now, the blue light ages you. It makes it very addictive. And they've done studies on, the CIA did studies way long ago on how they can control people, because that's always the goal, to control people. And blue light, they could make red light emit from all of our things, like our computer, our tablets, our phones, but they use blue light. Why? Because it's very addictive and they can control us. And I found these glasses, and I'm going to there they are. Let me see if I can grab them without breaking everything down. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, here they are. So they look very whatever, right? I'm going to tell you, when I put those on and I work on my computer, I get on it and I get off and I walk away. When I don't have them on, I will sit there for hours mindlessly on it. So there is something to that. There seriously is something to that. And to the addictiveness of it, to the how it's affecting us, our skin, our organs, all of that. So please be very, 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 very mindful of that also. Don't forget to like it. Thank you. Thank you. And the other thing is, if you are on the blue light stuff, make sure you're getting the red light stuff. And they've made red light masks and stuff so affordable now, little red light squares to kind of counteract some of that, to help you replenish and heal some of what's being done. One, nope, that's it. I'm not going to go any further into it. So this week, next week, the question will be, this week I want you to think of what's that thing what do you really want? How do you really want your life to look? And remember, we are always changing. So the way it looks in 5 years may not be the way it looks in 10 years, okay? Next week's question is, what if everything you want is right behind everything you don't? Oh, I love that question. I love that question because the first thing that comes in is, if you're at a job you don't want, what if the job you want is right behind that? If you're with a person you don't want, what if the person you want is right behind that? What if we have to let go of all the things we don't want, or work our way out of the things we don't want? What's making us uncomfortable? No, I'm calling me out, Heather. I'm calling me out. Not the job thing, but the other things. What if what we want, what if when we let go of what we don't want, or just make up our mind to let go? I don't say quit your job and then look and then find and seek, or start your thing. What if what we want is what we're holding on, is right behind what we don't want? Okay, I know that makes sense to you guys. Okay, you guys, until tomorrow night, have an amazing rest of the day. We will chat soon. Thank you so much.